Imagine a world torn apart, not by gods or monsters, but by mortals. This is the story of the Peloponnesian War, the epic conflict between Athens and Sparta. Our journey begins in the golden age of Athens. Under the leadership of Pericles, the city flourished. The Parthenon, a marvel of marble and gold, rose on the Acropolis, a symbol of Athenian power, democracy, and cultural brilliance. Athens commanded a mighty naval empire, its influence stretching across the Aegean Sea. Trade brought immense wealth, funding art, philosophy, and architecture that still inspire us today. Socrates walked these streets, questioning everything. Sophocles and Euripides captivated audiences with their tragedies. This was a city that believed it stood at the pinnacle of civilization. But across the Peloponnesian Peninsula, another power watched with suspicion: Sparta, a society forged in the crucible of military discipline. From the age of 7, Spartan boys were taken from their homes to endure the brutal adage, a training regimen designed to create the perfect soldier. Life was austere, dedicated to the state and the art of war. The Spartan phalanx, a wall of bronze shields and iron will, was the most feared land army in all of Greece. They were a people of few words, but their actions spoke volumes. While Athens ruled the waves, Sparta dominated the land. To fundamentally different societies, to competing ideologies, an inevitable collision was brewing. The air in Greece grew thick with tension. A series of smaller conflicts and broken treaties finally lit the fuse. In 431 BC, the long-simmering rivalry erupted into open war. Sparta and its allies, the Peloponnesian League, declared war on Athens and its Delian League. The fight for the soul of Greece had begun. Initially, the strategies were clear. Pericles urged the Athenians to stay behind their long walls, relying on their naval supremacy to raid the Spartan coast and import supplies. The Spartans, in turn, marched into Athenian territory year after year, burning crops and devastating the countryside, trying to lure the Athenian army into a decisive land battle. It was a stalemate, the elephant against the whale. Neither could strike a fatal blow in the other's domain. Then, disaster struck Athens from within. A terrible plague, brought in through the crowded port of Piraeus, swept through the city. It claimed a third of the population, including the great Pericles himself. The city was gripped by chaos and despair. Leadership fell to more aggressive, opportunistic figures who abandoned Pericles' cautious strategy for riskier ventures. The war grew more brutal. Atrocities committed on both sides. The initial clash of ideals devolved into a bloody struggle for survival. Into this turmoil stepped one of history's most fascinating and controversial figures, Alcibiades. Brilliant, handsome, and incredibly ambitious, he was a student of Socrates and a relative of Pericles. He persuaded the Athenians to launch a massive expedition to Sicily, promising to conquer the island and bring immense resources to the war effort. It was a gamble of epic proportions, a plan born of breathtaking arrogance. The Sicilian expedition was a catastrophe. The Athenian fleet and army were utterly annihilated. Thousands were killed or captured, condemned to die in the stone quarries of Syracuse. It was a blow from which Athens would never fully recover. And what of Alcibiades, the architect of this disaster? Accused of sacrilege back home, he fled. But he didn't just disappear. In a stunning act of betrayal, he defected to Sparta, offering his strategic genius to his city's mortal enemy. Guided by Alcibiades, the Spartans changed their strategy. They established a permanent fort in Athenian territory, strangling the city's land access year-round. More importantly, with Persian gold, a bitter irony for the heroes of the Persian Wars, they began to build a navy capable of challenging Athens on the sea. The war entered its final, desperate phase. Alcibiades' journey was not over. After falling out with the Spartans, he switched sides again, this time to Persia, before maneuvering his way back into Athenian command. For a time, his military brilliance brought Athens a string of victories, a brief, flickering hope that the tide might turn, but the city's internal politics were poisonous. Mistrust and factionalism ultimately led to his final exile. Then came at sea. At the Battle of Aegospotami in 405 BC, the new Spartan fleet, under the cunning Admiral Lysander, caught the Athenian navy completely by surprise and destroyed it. The lifeline of Athens was cut. Starving and defeated, the city was forced to surrender. The terms were harsh. The long walls were torn down to the sound of flute music. The Athenian Empire was dissolved. The once proud city was humbled, its golden age brought to a close. Sparta stood victorious, the undisputed master of Greece, but it was a hollow victory. Decades of relentless warfare had exhausted all of Greece. The city-states were weakened, their populations decimated, their economies shattered. The civil war had left them vulnerable, and new power was rising in the north, in Macedon. And its king, Philip, and his son, Alexander, were watching. The Peloponnesian War was more than just a series of battles. It was a tragedy in the truest Greek sense, a story of hubris, ambition, and self-destructs. It showed how democracy could be swayed by demagogues, how brutal a conflict can become when ideology is at stake, and how even the most brilliant civilizations can crumble from within. The echoes of this ancient struggle, the clash between freedom and order, between an open society and a closed one, still resonate in our world today. The story of Athens and Sparta is a timeless lesson, written in stone and blood. Thank you for joining us on this journey through ancient Greece. If you found this story compelling, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more deep dives into history's greatest conflicts. We'll see you in the next one.